Hey guys, I'm back. For people that are new to my channel, I'm Andrei from PSDBox, and today I'm happy to show you how I created this manipulation in Photoshop. It's a really simple manipulation, and what I want to show you is how to create this sort of monochromatic effect on portraits or other images, but I used the portrait for this tutorial. And let me show you the original photo, which is this one. Okay, so I'm going to show how to go from this to this kind of effect and just add a few particles and stuff like that. We will use a few adjustment layers, and I'll show you how to blur the background to just give a bit more interest to the effect. So let's get started. For this effect you can use any image you want. I used this portrait, and the background can be, in fact, any image. I used an image from Deposit Photos. If you're a premium member, you can download this stock photo from my website. But if you want, you can use any other image from the internet. It's not really important because we're going to blur it, so it's not going to be very visible. So in order to start, what I'll do is I'm gonna use this already cropped image, this one. Let me disable the effect. So this is the image extracted from the background. I'm not going to spend time showing you how to extract this from the background because I already have tutorials about that. And basically what I did is I used the pen tool to trace a path around the woman, and then I turned that path into a selection and deleted the background. I already have a tutorial about that, as I said, and remember that if you use the pen tool to draw a path, you can save that path on the JPEG file, and when you open that JPEG file, you can you don't have to spend time tracing the path again, because the path is saved inside the JPEG. So all you need to do is press Ctrl and click here on the paths. You can see it. It saves that. So I already have a tutorial about that as well, so you can check my channel and just search for work paths or something like that, and you'll find it. So what I'll do is actually open the original image, which is this one. I'll give you the links to this original image. It's from DeviantArt. You can see the name of the author, Day After Tomorrow, by Mint Stock. So you'll find the image on DeviantArt. And what I'll do is select the entire canvas with Ctrl A, and then go to Copy Merged, and go back here and paste it just exactly on top of this one. Let me just drop the opacity just because I want to make sure it's okay. It's on top of it, and I'll delete the background. And okay. The reason why I did that is because I want to keep this edge here. So what you need to do is, once you open your portrait, is open a background image and put it below, on a new layer below the model. Let's name this model. And I'll open the other stock image, which is this one. As I said, it's from Deposit Photos, but you can use any background image that you want. It's not really important, just to have something there on the background. Create a new layer. If you want to create a new layer below the layer that you select, just press and hold the Control key and click this new layer icon, and you can see the layers are created below the selected layer instead of creating it on top of it. Let's name it background and press Ctrl Command V to paste it here. And I'll press Ctrl Command T to load the free transform and just make it bigger. And when you scale it up, you can press the Shift key to constrain the proportions, because otherwise you can do things like that and it's not nice. So I want to cover my entire canvas here. The background image, the only thing you can keep in mind, or a recommendation that I give you, is to have some contrast. I mean, I don't have a clear sky, a white sky, so I have bright areas here. I have these clouds here, which will look nice once I apply the Gaussian blur, because now we are going to blur this. Well, instead of using the Gaussian blur, I'll use the lens blur because it's better. So what I'll do is go to Filter, choose Blur, and select Lens Blur. And for this particular image, I chose a radius of 80 pixels, but the radius depends on the size of your canvas, so you don't want to blur it too much because you want to still have some detail. Okay, so about 80 pixels will work. These other settings here don't really are not really important. So I'll click OK now. The only thing I don't like about the lens blur is that you cannot apply it on smart objects, which, well, I would like to have that possibility, but I cannot do it, so I'll wait for the lens blur to be applied. So it's a really big image and it takes a while until this lens blur is applied, but it's more realistic than the Gaussian blur because the edges are blurred a lot better in my opinion. Okay, so now I have this background. The reason why I use this particular background is because I have this sort of same tone as the woman's clothing, but if your background is different, you can use an adjustment layer to match the tones more or less. But since we're going to turn this into black and white, it's not really important. So let's go on. The next thing that I did is I turned this into a black and white, as I said. And instead of using the hue saturation and decrease the saturation, I always use black and white, the black and white adjustment, because I said it on a lot of my tutorials. With this, you have the ability to change the brightness of each tone. Okay, so by using the sliders, you can adjust the brightness. This depends on your image. What I wanted is to have a bit more contrast and a bit more light here on the face, on the eyes. I don't remember the exact values of each slider, but as you can see, basically these ones are the ones that control the tones, because you can see on the image we have mostly yellows and reds, so we have no blues and no cyans and no magentas here, so that's why these ones have no effect almost. So with these two sliders we can control the brightness of these tones. I'll leave it like that. And then what I did is I applied some styles to the model layer, so I'll double click on the models layer, and I used an inner shadow, and I set the blend mode to color dodge because I wanted to create sort of a rim light around her body, and I chose an orange color like this. Let's see how it looks. And then I changed the distance, actually the choke, I set it to 4, and I increased the distance to 38 pixels. And you can see this light here now appears here, and you can change the color if you want to, but the color actually is not really important. I just realized that because we have the black and white, which neutralizes any color that is below this adjustment. So a lot of people have asked on other tutorials that I have, when they add an adjustment layer, like the black and white adjustment, everything that was colored, every color that is below this adjustment will be turned into black and white. So there's no, even though you set this to orange, it will be converted into black and white. The only thing that matters here is the brightness. So see, if I set this really high here on really on the top, this light becomes brighter. So I'll leave it somewhere here. Click OK. And then the next adjustment that I added, the next style, sorry, was the outer glow, because I wanted to have some glow around her. And I used a gray color. I'll adjust the brightness after that. And I increased the size to about 100 pixels. See that? And you can try blend modes. The soft light blend mode usually works, but I wanted to have a sort of a, it's not really visible. Okay, so let's leave it on screen. And now you can see it's a bit more visible. You can smoothen it with the range, you can make it smoother. So if you increase the range, the slide becomes smoother. Okay, so let's click OK and see the before and after. Now we separated the model a bit better from the background. See that? Especially here on the left side, the slide here works really well for separation, and right here as well. And well, to just make it a bit more interesting, I added light effects and fire effects. I used these 3 stock images on a lot of my tutorials, so I used them here as well. So what I did is, because I like this lines and these particles here, I really love how they look. So what I did is I made a selection like that, press Ctrl-Command-C to copy it, Ctrl-Command-W to close. And since I want these effects to also be black and white, I will place them below the black and white adjustment and press Ctrl-Command-V to paste them here. But you can see this canvas is really big, so what I will do is just make the image a bit smaller, because that way I will work better. Let's make it 2000 pixels wide. That way the effect will be applied a bit quicker, because I'm also recording the video. I'll press Ctrl-Command-V again to paste this, and Control Command T to load the free transform and make it a bit bigger. If you want to scale from the center, you can see this point here. What you can do is press Shift and Alt, and you will scale this from the center. If you want to scale from the bottom corner, for example, you can press and hold the Shift key and scale like that, and you can see this part remains still. And if you move this here, for example, if you want to keep this point on the same place, you can now press and hold the Shift and the Alt key, and this point will remain there, and it will scale it. It will consider this to be the center, so to say. I don't know if you understand what I meant to say, but anyways, I'll place this image here, and we want to get rid of this background, so I'll change the blend mode of this to screen. I'm going a bit quick because some people complain that I talk too much, and I do. So, well, anyways, I'm going a bit quick because this is just, let's call it standard procedure. Just paste images and change blend modes. So that's what I'm doing here. I'll actually place this below the model because I just want this light to be here on the top. These particles here. Let's name this Fire 1. And let's open another one, which is this other Fire stock image. Do the same, press Control Command A, Control Command C, and Control Command W to close. And let's paste this fire here. You can see this stock image is quite a lot bigger than the other one. So I'll make it smaller because I just want these particles. I don't want the fire itself to be visible. And let's change the blend mode again to screen. And I'll probably rotate it a bit. Whenever you want to change the position or the size, you have to press Control Command T to load the free transform, which is this. You can see this box here. Okay, so that allows you to, if you right click, it allows you to warp, to distort, or just to rotate the image around. I guess this is just for the beginners, but in case you didn't know, now you know it. You have to be careful because this stock image, you can see there's lines here. So in order to get rid of those, what you can do, you can press Control Command L to load the levels and move the left slider, which is the shadows. Move it a bit to the right, and you can see how those midtones that were left here right on the edge become darker, so they go away because we have the screen blend mode. And if any of the fire particles are cut there, what you can do, instead of using a soft brush, don't do that because let me show you what happens if you do that. If you use a soft brush to mask it or to delete it, let's create a layer mask because it's non-destructive. And okay, if you do that, what happens is that you will have a few particles that sort of fade away, and that's not realistic. Instead of that, use a brush like this, increase the size, and just paint like that. But let's use the original size, okay? And just remove some of the particles that are right there on the edge, and you can see that line there from this other stock image. So I'll do the same. I'll select Fire 1, press Control Command L, and move this a bit to the left, and you can see how that now disappears, and we only have these lines here. Okay, so let me show the before and after, before and after. Okay, now we only have these clean lines without any background noise or things like that. Okay, let's open the last fire stock image, which is this one. And again, we have more particles here. Instead of copying the whole image, what you can do is just copy part of it, just the part that you're interested in, like this top one, and press Control Command C, Control Command W. And let's paste this one on top of the model. So we want to have some particles on top of her as well, just to create a bit of depth, and change the blend mode of this to screen as well. Let's check the edges. Okay, see this one, this little particle here, which is cut. So select the eraser or use a layer mask, and just this one as well. Okay, right there, and let's move it a bit lower like that, and probably duplicate that and move it below her, below the model layer, and just to have some particles on the background as well there, and duplicate again and have some particles there as well, but I'll make it smaller. Don't add too many particles, because it will look too it will not look good if you add too many of them. Okay, so I want to move this one there. Okay, something like that. Now the interesting part comes now, because we will use the dodge and burn tool and the mixer brush tool. You can try adding these fire particles on top of this black and white, just to see how they look, if you want to have some color. But I wanted to keep it monochromatic, that's why I added them below the adjustment layer. Now for the dodge and burn, I have tutorials about that. What this tool does, it helps you to increase local contrast and make some really nice effects. What I did on the original is I used the clone tool to remove these hairs. Let me show you how I did that. I'll deactivate the black and white and this layer too, and create a new layer and clip it to the model. Let's name it clone, and get the clone stamp tool. So what I'll do is sample from here and just clone this part. It's not working, I don't know why. Let's check current and below and increase the opacity, make it a bit bigger, and do it again. Just a quick cloning to get rid of these particles, this hair, sorry. And I'll switch to the spot healing brush to see if I can remove this one from here, but use a smaller brush like that. I'm doing it really quick because I just wanted to show that I did this, but take your time. Okay, not working. Let's use the healing brush. Actually, the clone stamp works better because we are close to this dark edges, and with the spot healing brush and with the healing brush, what we do is these tools try to match the contrast, so it will mess up because we have this bright area here. So what it will do, what those tools will do is we'll mix them with this dark area, which is not what we want. So when you're close to edges, use the clone stamp instead of the spot healing brush tool or the healing tool. Okay, let's fix this part as well. For some reason it's not working. I'm using the tablet and I have to press really hard because I don't know why it's acting like the pen pressure, it's active or something like that. So let's remove this one here, which is really annoying, this hair. Oh, that was bad. Okay, and let's remove this single hair from here as well. You have to be patient here because sometimes it's quite frustrating because the area is really tight and you need to play with the brush size up and down. Anyways, we can rebuild this edge here with the dodge and burn tool. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, something like that, more or less. I think it looks better than this. Also, I did it really quick, so don't expect really seamless cloning here, okay? Well, let's move on. Let's re-enable these two layers and let's move on with the... let's use first the mixer brush tool. I'll create a new layer because I want to do this non-destructively. And I'll name this mixed skin. I use this tool on other tutorials. If you want to see other tutorials, just search on my channel for mixer brush tool or on my website, and you'll find some retouching tutorials where I used this tool and I explained how to work with it. I don't know if it's only available in Photoshop CS5 or and CS6 extended, but if you have it, you can use it. Other people use the smudge tool, use a really low setting on the smudge tool and do it that way, but for me works. I like this tool better. So what you do is with this tool is just mix the textures. I have these settings here. I don't know if they work, but I rarely touch them. The only thing I do is make sure I check this setting here, which is the I don't know the name of it. Let's see how it's called. Clean the brush after each stroke. This is necessary because otherwise you will get the texture from here and smudge it on other places. So I want to clean the brush after each time I stroke. And I also check this sample all layers because I want to paint on this new layer. So if I make a mistake, I can delete it and do it again. So what I do is you can smoothen the shadows with it, make the skin a bit smoother. And all you need to keep in mind is well, take a look at the shadows and follow the direction of the shadow and the direction of the body shapes. For example, if you have this lighter part here and here I have a shadow, if I click here and drag, what I do is I take the shadow and mix it with this highlight, and sometimes it's not looking nice. So try to keep the shadows where they are, but you can smoothen them and mix them with the highlight and get a nice soft effect. This tool also keeps some texture, so in some way is better than the smudge tool in my opinion, but it depends on the settings that you have here, because if you make too many strokes you will lose the texture, obviously. But you can use the noise filter to add more texture back once you're done, and you'll see the effect after that. After I'm done with it, I'll show you the before and after. Again, I'll go quick here. On this metal here you can get some really nice effects. Remove all these noisy things, just keep the shadows and the highlights, especially here. You don't want to remove it completely, this texture, but it will look a bit better if you smoothen this texture. It's just like airbrushing, I think. I'm not sure. Okay, so what I'll do is just spend some time here doing this. I want to clean this area here. You can see how ugly it looks. So what I will do is speed up the video, and I don't want to keep you watching, but I'll speed up the video so you can see the areas where I painted with this tool. So see you when I'm done. Okay, so I'm almost done on this part here. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but you can see more or less what I did. So see, for example, right here, if you want to use this tool here, you don't do things like this, because you will see how bad it looks. Follow the highlights and the shadows, so follow this shape here, because you don't want to mix these two tones. You want to smoothen them, but you don't want to mix them because it looks bad. Okay, so I'm not using the tool here on this dress, because on this clothing here, because you can see it has this texture, so if you do that you will lose the texture. You can try using a really low settings, or you can try painting them and then use a really you can use the layer mask to remove the effect, but I don't want to do it. Don't forget about this hand here. Just smoothen it just a bit. Okay, let me show you what I did before and after. You can see now the image looks cleaner and a bit smoother, and especially this gas mask. Okay, so I don't want to use it here, but that's pretty much what I did. There's nothing else here that we can use this tool. Maybe here to smoothen this part here, and maybe here. Okay, so that's what I did with the mixer brush tool. The next thing that I did is I used this dodge and burn. So again, I want to work non-destructively. So I'll create a new layer and I'll name it dodge burn. When I was using other previous versions of Photoshop, I had an action. I don't know if I still have it. I created an action that made all of this automatically for me. So what I did is I created a new layer, and then now I'll go to Edit, Fill, and choose 50% gray, and I'll click OK, and that will fill this layer with neutral gray, 50% gray exactly. And now I'll change the blend mode of this to soft light. So as I said, I had an action that at a press of a button would create this layer and the blend modes automatically, but it's not that difficult as you can see right now. So what I'll do now is select the dodge tool. You can use the brush tool as well. Some people asked if they can use the brush tool. Of course you can. Instead of using the dodge tool, just select the brush tool. Make sure you have the black tool, select the black foreground color, and just decrease the opacity, make it at about 9% or something like that. And you can use that instead of using the burn tool. And if you want to dodge, you can switch the color, the foreground color, to white and paint. But I like to use the dodge tool. I don't know why, but I usually set this to mid-tones and set the exposure to about 10%, depending on how strong you want the effect to be. And the protect tones has, even if you activate it, nothing will happen because we are painting on a layer that has no tones, has no colors on it. So activate it or not is not going to affect us. I'll use a small soft brush, hardness 0, and I'll start with the dodge tool. And what I want to do with the dodge tool is enhance the highlights. Just paint here to give it a bit more shape. And you can see I have a really low exposure. I'll set it to 12% here on the skin because the skin is more sensitive. And it's really a good advice to use low exposures because you can build up the effect. And I repeated this over and over again on my tutorials. If you work with higher exposures, it's really easy to make a mistake. So if you use low exposures, you can see the effect and you can gradually build it up on areas. And you can, if you want to see what you're doing, just enable and disable this dodge tool and you can see now it made the face a bit brighter. And here I really want a strong effect on this highlights on the mask to make it stand out. So what I'll do is increase the exposure to about 40%. Maybe it's too much, we'll see. No, it looks okay. And just use a small soft brush and just enhance and create these lines, make them stand out a lot more, and especially here in this part. So I'm just using the existing highlights on the image and make them stand out even more. You can see that I'm not painting on shadows, except if there's a small line here which have this highlight, I paint over just to make it stand out a lot more. Okay, and you'll see the effect once we're done. A lot of people ask me, why do I use this tool? Why? Well, you can create some really nice effects with it. And I have other tutorials like the police officer that I used that artwork to demonstrate how you can really change the aspect of an image. Okay, I added a bit more light there. Let's make this brighter here. And this line here, I want to brighten it up just a bit. And especially on the edges, this looks really nice. Oh, I don't like what I did there. So just change the brush size to adapt it to the area that you're painting. I'm using the pen tool, the pen on the tablet, sorry. I'm using the tablet, but you can use this with the mouse. There's no need to have a tablet for this. I used the mouse for years and you can do it. Now I have a tablet because it's a bit quicker and it's more natural, but you don't need a tablet for that. If you don't have it, no problem. Let's enhance the highlights on this line as well. Okay, something like that. Don't forget about the highlights on the clothes, okay, especially the folds. These folds can look really nice, and you can really make them stand out. You can see these highlights here. Then we will use the dodge tool on the shadows of the folds, but I'm still using the dodge tool, so just make this thing stand out. It takes a bit of practice until you train your eye to see the shadows and the subtle highlights and shadows, but all it takes is practice. It's not really difficult. Just train your eyes, and the only way to do that is to practice. Okay, let's take care of the fingers here. Obviously I'm doing this really quick, but if you take your time and just pay attention to all the details, and you'll create some really nice effects. Okay, let's switch to the burn tool. So what I'll do is select the burn tool, leave the exposure to about 30, how it is. I like how that looks. Let's fix that part of the eye here. Make this edge here darker. So I have the exposure set to 30% and set the range to midtones. I'll make the brush a bit smaller and increase the hardness just a bit. And you can see, let me show what I did with the dodge tool so far. Okay, I made all the highlights stand out a bit. I could have used it here a bit more. If I change this to normal, you can see how it looks. These bright areas combined with the soft light make the highlights, or make the areas that are brighter, make them brighter. Okay, now let's continue with the burn tool and enhance this eye. I just want to make this edge a bit darker, because with the clone stamp I kind of destroyed the edge, and I can make this part here darker as well. I see this line here which I want to dodge, so I have the burn tool selected, but if I want to temporarily switch to the dodge tool, I can press and hold the Alt key, and if you do that you will paint with the dodge tool, and you can see that here on the history. Now I'm using the dodge tool because I have the Alt key pressed, and if I let go I go back to the burn tool. I just wanted to give a bit of shape to that. And I also want to add a bit of light, so I'll press again and hold the Alt key. Oh, I just found a new keyboard shortcut to select the entire layers, to select all the layers. If you press and hold the Alt key, and there's a key with two small arrows on top of it. If you press that, you can see it selects the entire layers palette. I just found that right now. That's cool. Okay, let's get going here. Press the Alt key and dodge the highlights inside the eyes to make them stand out a bit. And now I'll paint back with the burn tool to make the eye a bit darker. And let's make the same here. Dodge the highlights, and I don't want to burn too much this eye because it's already dark. Okay, and just burn that part there. Burn a bit the eyebrows, not too much. And what I'll do is decrease the exposure because I want to work on the skin a bit, and on skin I like to work with low exposure. I want to make this shadow here a bit stronger, and the shadow that leaves the hair right here, I want to make it stronger as well. The shadow under the eyes. So it takes a bit of time to do this, and but you will get some really nice results. So I'll move here. I'll move to the gas mask, so I'll increase the exposure to about 50, and let's take care of the shadows. Now I painted the highlight here, so what I want to do is add a shadow next to it. The exposure is a bit too high, so I'll drop it just a bit, and I want to make this shadow stand out a bit. Also this one here. Okay, maybe here a bit. I wanted to make sure that I don't have the pen pressure on. I don't really like to work with it. I don't know why. I prefer to change the brush size I only work with it activated when I want to create when I want to create lines that have variable width, but in this case I can easily change the brush size and that's it. Now I'm dodging. I have the Alt key pressed because I wanted to increase the highlight a bit here. And now I just let go of the Alt key and make this part a bit brighter. Make this things a bit brighter as well and darken that part. Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time here because I want to move on. But that's we're almost done. It's not okay. Let's take care of the folds here. Now we created that highlight here, okay, and now I paint here with the burn tool too, just to make the opposite part of the fold darker, and that way I increase the local contrast, okay, and it gives a bit more depth. Okay, let's take care of this part as well. The exposure is a bit too high, so I'll decrease it just a bit and continue. Make this shadow, this big shadow, a bit stronger. Okay, let's take care of this part as well. Okay, that's, I think we're good. Let me show the before and after without the dodge and burn and with the dodge and burn. It makes some lines look a bit better. And if you want to increase the effect, what you can do is duplicate this dodge and burn, and just with pressing Control Command J. And if you do it again, you make the effect stronger and stronger, but that's too strong. So what I will do now is select both of them and press Control Command G to group them, and I'll name this group dodge burn. Okay, and if I deactivate it, you can see, especially here on the eyes, how nice the eyes look, and this gas mask looks a lot better. And if I deactivate both the mixer brush and the dodge and burn, you can see how the image was looking. So I think it's a good it's a big change, and especially when I made it so fast, I made it really quick. So if you spend a bit more time, you can make some really nice effects, as I said. If you want to control the overall contrast, you can add levels or curves. Let's add some curves. On the original I used levels, I think, to control the overall contrast. And I don't want to burn too much the highlights there, but I want to increase a bit the contrast, not too much. Something like that, okay? To make it a bit tighter. And probably levels would work a bit better, but anyways, let's leave it like that. And you can see here on the gas mask, it looks a bit, I killed a bit the highlights maybe. No, you can add glows of light. I'll create a new layer and let's name this glow. And since this is black and white, it's monochromatic, you can use colors as well if you want to, but I like this monochromatic look. I'll increase the brush size a bit, and a lot of people is asking me why I keep using the right click to increase the brush size. I don't know. I got used to that, but you can see I have the keyboard shortcuts as well. I use them as well, but just for you to see the size that I'm using. Okay, so let's use a size like that. I'll change the blend mode of this to, I could use the screen blend mode, but I'll leave it to normal because we are using white color. So, and I'll increase the opacity to about 100% or less because I want to have some control over the strength. It's about 50%. And wherever you see a highlight, you can paint a glow of light. For example, right here, see that? Can paint a glow of light, but it's not looking nice. Let's try the soft light blend mode because I want to try something. Yeah, that looks good, but well, let's leave it on screen and use a darker tone. So in the end, I will end up using the screen blend mode and leave the opacity to 100%. And let's try it again. Okay, really subtle. You don't need a really big glow of light, just a touch of light. Okay, like that. Maybe one here, maybe a bigger one right here, one right there. See here, it's not looking nice because we have this shadow, this big shadow here, and if you paint on top of it, it's not looking nice. So use a smaller brush for that. That looks nice. Let's paint another one right here on the bottom. Okay, so it just makes the image look a bit more misty and, I don't know, dreamy looking. I don't know. We're almost done. The next thing that I want to do is sharpen, but I will leave that for the end, because you should only sharpen your image when you're done with the image. So what I will do is add a touch of color. You can use a lot of these adjustment layers here, but I will use the curves to do it. On the original image I used Color Effects Pro. I just wanted to try that plugin, but you can do it with the curves. There's no need to get any plugin. Just go here into the levels, into the channels, sorry, and just change the curve here to that's too complicated. Let's try something a lot easier, which is a solid color, and choose a color that looks nice, for example this one, and change the blend mode to color, and now decrease the opacity to about 5% or something like that. Just a touch of color, okay, to give this this effect. If you want to have some color, you can leave the eyes, you can leave the color, the natural color of the eyes, but what I did on the originals, I changed this to a green color, but anyways. And the next thing that I did is I created a stamp. You can do that if you press Shift, Alt, Command and E, or Shift, Alt, Control and E. And you can, what I did is I used the Topaz Details filter, but you don't necessarily have to use it. Instead I'll show you an alternative actually, because I know many of you don't have it. It's the only plugin that I use to add details to the image, but what you can do is create a stamp and then go to Filter, choose Other and choose High Pass. I know many of you already know this trick, and you can see if you increase the radius, some detail of the image starts to show up, and this can be used also to create HDR effects, but let's leave it on about 1.5 for this canvas size, and you can see how it looks. And now we can change the blend mode of this to overlay, and see, you create more detail. And if you increase the radius, you sharpen the image even more. And you can also use the lighting effects filter to add some vignetting effect, but it looks nice as it is. If you want to save this for your website, for example, as I said, what you can do is select the entire canvas with Control Command A, go to Edit, Copy Merge, and then press Control Command N to create a new document, and paste this here. And let's say I want to save this for my website. I know it's 610 pixels wide. So you can see how the image looks now, but you can sharpen it a bit, and you can use the unsharp mask, or you can use the artistic filters. If you go to the filter gallery, there's a filter on the artistic folder. It's called Paint Daubs, and you can use this set. But let's get rid of the sponge filter. This filter also sharpens the image. See that? But you have no control over the amount of sharpness, so it's better to use the unsharp mask. From here you can set the radius and the amount, and see how the image looks a lot sharper now. So this is how I created this dramatic black and white image. You can use other monochromatic colors, you can use blue tones or stuff like that, but I liked the black and white. So I hope you learned something new from this tutorial. If you wanna watch more tutorials, just go to my website or to my YouTube channel, and you can subscribe. and you'll find more tutorials there. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.